Hello. Today we're going to talk about The Taking and my absolute rage towards Dean Koontz. First things first, I don't like this book. I don't. I think it is so obnoxious. Dean Koontz is a writer that I very strongly feel is getting paid by the words in his book. Like, he's getting paid by word count, because it takes him 2 or 3 pages to describe a lady looking out a window and seeing rain. Like, it is so tedious to get past his just ranting. Like, another reason I don't like this book, I swear he explains his metaphors with more metaphors. I was telling my husband about this and it's so annoying. Like, he'll explain something and he uses a metaphor to paint a picture. He was talking about the rain and he was talking about how it smells musky, almost unclean. Okay. And then he further goes on and he gives another metaphor, basically saying the same thing, saying the rain smells oddly like this weird, like musky kind of like bodily smell, but it doesn't totally, so it's hard to place what it smells like. And it's like, dude, you just said that. Will you stop repeating? Another gripe with this book, I don't think it's written very well. This book is about aliens. And the reason I am spoiling is because I don't like this book. I don't care if you don't read this book. This is a book that I've powered through it twice. The first time, it pissed me off so much, the ending. And I'll get to that. But if you don't read this book, I don't think you're missing out. I think if you want to read it and you want aliens and you don't care if the ending's gonna suck, but this might be the perfect book for you if you don't care about the story and you just want alien interaction, but then you don't care how it concludes. Because reading it again, I got so pissed about everything. So the main character is a 28-year-old writer, and she's married. Her and her husband have been together for a hot minute, like 7 years. They met in college. They want babies, but she can't have babies. I'm going to go into detail with this. Sorry. And she wakes up one night to it raining. It's crazy. And eventually stuff goes crazy and aliens come. But throughout the book, characters keep referencing quotes from her favorite author. And it's only in regard to her. You never hear it mentioned to anybody else. So it's just her. And she keeps having this feeling like if she doesn't follow her instinct, somehow she's failed a lesson. And as you go through the book, it keeps giving her points where she can kind of break and just accept that the world is turning into this horrible, like, alien takeover, and that there's going to be no more human life, essentially. Or she feels if she keeps going strong and keeps believing in her moral compass and all that, then maybe somehow things will be okay. And there are times where she's tested, but it's only her tested. So there's a lot that she goes through on her own, and it keeps referencing if she doesn't keep pursuing and pushing through, somehow, like, there's going to be a big demise. Like, she has to find hope. She has to keep pushing on, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. So we don't know why at first, why the aliens can't get the kids, but they can't get the kids. And then there's certain chosen people to save and, like, watch all the kids. And the aliens can't touch them. other people can, but the aliens can't. And you find out that the aliens all came together collectively and decided like they could kill off most of the humans, but they couldn't get kids, and they couldn't get a couple other like special, morally like superior people. That's how it comes across. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like they bring up morals a lot, and so I assume it's morally superior. My goodness. And so Molly and her husband have kind of like lost their faith, and they're dealing with that struggle of like, maybe God is real, maybe he's not, maybe we should be believing our old teachings, maybe we should set it aside, maybe we need new ones, all that stuff. And anyways, it comes to a point where she thinks that the aliens decided, some of them, that not all of humanity is awful and needs to be killed off. Only some of them. So they save some special few. And this is never clearly defined or like answered. So it's just kind of like, yeah, I guess that was the case. Why is that the case? I don't know. And basically, it's kind of like certain aliens played God and reenacted Noah's Ark. So they picked like these morally superior people and children to save, and then everybody else kind of can just go and face horrible deaths. Basically, because Molly chose to face all of these tests that they threw at her, and she essentially faced her dad and her past trauma with faith and like staying strong, Earth is saved. And that's just that's it. So the aliens stop turning Earth into their planet because they were changing Earth and making it habitable for them. And so eventually it would have been where it was most likely not able to be inhabited by the humans. But that stops after Molly faces her childhood trauma. And then the aliens just go away. And everybody who was picked to like save the kids and watch over them, they all go and like rebuild society. And they've all been hand selected because they all have special crafts and abilities. And of course, Molly, she is a writer, and like she learns that she is supposed to be a teacher, and like husband finds his faith again, and he helps others find his faith. And that's supposed to be like their contribution to the new world. And I don't know, I would argue that maybe like a teacher is great, and I'm not saying that that's not valuable, and like a preacher or a pastor, those are all valuable too. Religion is valuable. Some people, that's what they need in like times of sorrow, blah blah blah. Anyways, between like a doctor and a carpenter and like, people who can grow, like a farmer and all that, I just feel like a teacher and a priest might be like on the lower rung of the ladder, like maybe not as valuable when rebuilding society, but what do I know? And basically the book concludes that because Molly endured and had faith and all this, like she is now having the life that she always wanted with her partner. They had always wanted kids. She ends up being able to get pregnant. It's so bizarre to me though. Like they saved, I think it was, sorry, I'm trying to remember. I think it's like 8 kids or something. And they like go and get this new world set up and Molly's teaching, but she didn't take on any of the kids that she helped save. Not one. It was like she got pregnant and then was like, no, I am too busy. And it's like, you're a teacher and your husband's a pastor. Like, you guys couldn't have taken some of those poor orphaned babies and helped them out? Like, what? And like, they get this really nice house right on the beach and they're set, like they're smooth sailing. But they didn't take any of the kids. That was a big gripe for me. Like, you save these kids, you bond with them, and then you're like, deuces, I'm out. I can't be bothered. And it annoyed me. So, The Taking. I honestly, I'm going to donate this book because I've read it twice and I freaking hate it. Every time I read it, I get so annoyed. Like, I will say, Dean Koontz does have a pretty good imagination. Some of the aliens were really fun and like creepy, and some of the ways that they infected people and like just some of the encounters, those are interesting. But like overall, I don't think this book is very good. Personally, I wouldn't probably bother with it, especially if this hadn't been gifted to me. If I had had to pay money to get this, I would have been pissed. Like, this book is $10, and I think that's $10 too many because I was so annoyed with it. So if you want a crappy alien book, feel free.